The True Project presents.
Hi, my name is Jules and I am autistic. I am currently in college studying history and political science, and I am pursuing a certificate in paralegal studies. All of my life, I've had doors closed on me due to the general perception of individuals who are neurodivergent. There's still lots of stigma and stereotypes that invalidate and negatively impact autistic individuals. After years of internalized and sometimes actual ableism, as an advocate, student leader, and an emerging artist, it is my pleasure to say that I am unapologetically disabled. I am immensely grateful for the steps disabled activists have taken to get as far as having protections like the ADA. Unfortunately, this does not prevent dangerous amounts of ableism within the disabled community. There are so many issues to talk about, but I have to narrow it down to a brief discussion of the issues and how I am personally impacted by the weaknesses of this piece of legislation. There are still laws that don't allow disabled people to have more than a certain amount of assets, marriage rights, nor be paid minimum wage. This is just a few things that disabled people do not have access to, as opposed to people who are able-bodied. It's not new that there are still ableist people in this society who continue ableist practices that stem from the Oaklee laws, which were enforced starting in the 17th century. I would suggest doing research, but I'll tell you that these laws isolated individuals with physical and developmental disabilities. Still today, about 20% of individuals with disabilities are employed. As for people on the spectrum, these employment rates are much lower. Despite disabled people being among the largest minority group in the nation, we are still silenced and discriminated at disproportionate rates. There are still people who see us as burdens, confused, or incapable of doing something because of our inability or perceived inability to communicate. In my instance, communication is hard. As it is also Disability Pride Month, I also understand that it is hard for many individuals to take pride in something that, because of a society that values able-bodied individuals as opposed to those who aren't, this ableism deprives them of multiple basic rights within healthcare, education, and at many times the workplace. It is dehumanizing, to say the least, to know that our lives are not as valued as an able-bodied and neurotypical individual. Imagine knowing that the fight for your own independence is going to take years. Imagine being blatantly dismissed when talking about your condition because people still fail to see people with less visible disabilities. Imagine having to mask some days because you know if you show people your worst, many people won't see you as who you aspire to be. They'll call you lazy, there's no excuses, etc. You feel as if you're a burden, although you know deep down that you're worth something. Your voice matters, and my voice matters. We have to coexist together instead of dividing and having all this prejudice. Imagine living in a society that values hard work so much that you've ran on literally no spoons just to get by, whether it's passing an assignment or completing a project. The ADA has a long way to go and it needs to be reformed. Disabled activists have been calling out the law for years, as courts still don't see people as disabled, even people who are visibly disabled, because of all these types of laws. There's so much you can do. If you're able-bodied and watching this, please support and amplify disabled voices. If you're disabled, amplify other people's voices, such as people of color, especially around this time. That is my speech. Thank you for listening. And follow my Instagram, Jules Princess.